Well, good morning, everyone. First Warn 5 meteorologist Greg Bennett here. There's a lot to talk about as we move forward in time. You can see our Friday, our Saturday, and our Sunday forecast here, all under First Warns. We brought this to you yesterday, starting off with the Sunday forecast with the First Warn, and then by the afternoon, we also tacked on Saturday, and it was just due to the timing of where we are with this major storm system. So what we saw yesterday, the changes that we saw to our atmosphere, is that we were getting more and more conducive with instability to the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. We were also looking to add more mid-level shear to the mix, and shear is actually something that we need to really amp up storm activity, kind of building those storms higher and higher into the atmosphere, getting it closer and closer to kind of what we call the ceiling of the atmosphere for these storms. And even so, if we get enough power in these storm systems, enough of a strong updraft, we could actually call for what's called in meteorology busting the cap or busting the ceiling, which would then produce some significant storm activity. I don't think we're in that kind of scenario right now. However, we are looking at sufficient available potential energy to the atmosphere. We are looking at plenty enough shear for this to occur, and we've got that instability to the atmosphere. We're also looking at an increase in temperature, as you can see, with the temperatures rising into the mid-70s and then lower 80s by Saturday. That's going to be warm air that'll help us lift that energy even further more into the atmosphere, providing us a better chance for significant weather, i.e. severe storm activity. So those are the kind of changes that we've seen, the manipulation to our data as we've gone through the past 24 hours. So there's more confidence there. That's what we're talking about right now today. And I wanted to get you updated on that. Let's see if we can get into just a little bit more. It's still going to be very kind of convoluted outlook for severe weather. We talked about Friday's forecast. I'm going to show you Saturday's outlook, severe weather-wise. It's going to show you the colors of yellow or orange because we are so far out. And so far, it looks like Saturday's forecast, we are now pushing to that yellow area zone, which is indicative of a 15% chance for severe storms. As you can see, we did just get a brand new update in this particular data model, and because of that, we get all of the data for every single day for the next 8 days. It kind of sort of embeds itself on one another. So what I'm going to do actually now is I'm going to go into this graphic and just show you Saturday's forecast, okay? So I'm going to go in. We're starting to build this out. I'm going up into a file, opening up our Severe Prediction Center Outlook data model run. And now I'm going to get rid of the current data model and just feature, there we go, day 5 in our forecast. And day 5 in our forecast, we include today as day 1, meaning today, Tuesday. So day 5 is Saturday. This is what Saturday's forecast is looking like for us for that severe weather threat. Let me kind of sort of pull it out for you and just show you how much it expands across the Central Plains and the Missouri River Valley. So it does get into maybe Branson or the Joplin area, and then it stretches right back down into Oklahoma City, right down into Texas technically. Let me go ahead and take off day 5 and show you day 4. Day 4 would be Friday's forecast, right? So there's day 4, and that looks a little bit more, well, something that you remember from yesterday, because that was the one that we were really seeing involved with the Missouri River Valley, was that Friday forecast, that agreement of severe weather opportunity. So we still have that. That literally has not changed for us. The ingredients have not changed for us. The confidence is still there. What has changed is that we added Saturday to the mix. That's your Saturday forecast. And let me get rid of Saturday and let me show you Sunday's forecast right now. This is Sunday's forecast. And as you can see, the storm system begins to exit out more towards the east. Notice how it's elongated. This gives us a perfect idea of what type of weather pattern we may be dealing with, mainly with this storm system on this day. And it looks like it's going to be more of the front that comes through the area. Let me go back to day 5, which is Saturday's forecast, and this is kind of the approach of low pressure through the region. All right, so it does build out from kind of the south, and it continues to stretch and track to the east. So we're going to see kind of an evolution of storm systems that move through the area. Technically, this is going to be more than one type of weather pattern through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have two different types of storm systems that are moving on through that are literally attached almost to one another, but not quite. So we have to consider them as two different types of storm patterns. But nonetheless, since they are consecutive and we still have plenty of ample moisture and warm air funneling in from the south, because they're stacked on basically one another, we still provide plenty of energy and fuel source for this storm system to get into severe weather activity. So that's where we're at right now with these storms. Let me get out of this, and actually I'm going to go ahead and save this because we need to save this for our further kind of forecasts and graphics for our live show out there anyways. Let me show you where we're at for what we may see on Saturday in regards to weather phenomena, right? So we call that for tornado activity, lightning, wind, that kind of development. And almost like Friday, I mean, it's almost exactly like Friday's forecast, that we've got a moderate threat for damaging wind. That'll be 58 plus miles per hour. That's the criteria you need for a severe thunderstorm warning. We're at a moderate threat for large size hail, starting off the size of a quarter or larger. And then the difference we have between Friday and Saturday is that we've technically ticked up the rotation probability a little bit more compared to Friday's forecast. It's almost the same, but that's a little bit of a change that we've got here. So I want you to be aware of the situation. We don't technically have enough information right now or data to really get into the nitty-gritty of our Friday and Saturday forecasts, so we're not issuing quite yet that first warn weather day. Could that happen by this afternoon? Yes. Could that happen by tomorrow morning? Yes. Could that happen by Friday's forecast? Technically, yes. So it's going to be something that we're going to have to continue to gather more data. We've got to decipher this together as meteorologists here at KCTV5. And then if we do believe that there's enough confidence for an aggressive kind of weather pattern above and beyond the severity that we've been seeing, then we would issue a first warn weather day. And that's kind of like our red alert here at KCTV5, something that you really want to sit down and pay attention to us as your meteorologists and know what's going to go down for that particular day that the inclement weather's coming through. So that's what we've got going on right now. It's absolutely on the table for us to change over to that situation. But as of right now, with the information that's available to us, what we have been seeing in our models, we are still just calling them first warns. But we have confidence in getting into some pretty strong storms during our weekend. All right. So Tim says, I actually have our Facebook Live up here right now, and it says, are we going to have a tornado involved with the area, says Tim. There is an opportunity for that. With that being said, though, let me pull back and let's go back to the severe prediction model that we have for Saturday, just in particular, right? And I'm going to grow this all the way out just to get a better view of this for you. Let's see if I've got properties, palettes. It won't allow me to actually draw on this, but that's okay. So as you can see, we're kind of on the tippy top of the scale here for the severe weather threat for Saturday's forecast, right? And it technically goes into the overnight for us. So the specifics of this is that, yes, we have an opportunity to spin up even here around the Kansas City area. That being said, there's more odds for that kind of development further south. So we're talking more around Wichita and then getting into central Oklahoma, around Oklahoma City. But technically, we do have the opportunity to rotate the atmosphere even on that northeastern edge of the severe weather kind of zone, which is where we are located in that severe weather kind of outlook. So we've got that opportunity. However, it is technically more likely that if we do see tornado development, it should be more outside of the viewing area. Like I said, friends, I am not keeping it at a 0% chance. You saw the severe storm impacts, and I still have it on the low side of the scale for a spin up here around our viewing area, but it's not at extremely low or zero. There's still a possibility, and we want to keep that open and available. We're going to stay very alert to that situation. We do not want to, have ourselves in a situation where you think you're in the clear and you feel that you're safe, and then something drops out of the sky, and then we're in a serious situation. We don't do that here at KCTV5. We make sure that you guys are ready for it. We're all about planning and preparing, making sure that you know this information first. That's what First Warn is all about here at KCTV5. We care about you guys a lot. And that's how we show you that we care. So that was a great kind of comment or question you had there, Tim. I really appreciate that, buddy. So, yeah, we've already had a couple of people ask us, so what's the haps? What's going on? What's the deal here? We kind of went into the explanation of what's happening with the new update to the forecast. I'm going to do that one more time before I let you go. But this is the update that we've got. We are now adding first warns for the entire weekend. All right. Let me show you what that looks like. Again, it's just Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that we're going to be looking into now. And there it is. First warns are on tap. We've got a 60% chance for storm activity to threaten us on Friday. That'll be more of a widespread threat. Saturday, it's more likely towards the evening that we're going to get into more impactful weather. So at this time, it's only about a 40% storm threat. And then as we move on into Sunday, it lingers through the morning and into the afternoon. And that's about a 50% storm activity situation that we have on tap. Notice the temperatures. They're in the mid 70s on Friday. We're at the 80s moving on into Sunday, kind of lower 70s into Sunday afternoon. That is plenty of warm weather for warm air lift, meaning we're lifting energy into the atmosphere just from the temperature alone. We're going to get forced lifting from the front and the low pressure system that comes through. That's another lifting mechanism that we're going to get to. And this is going to be a powerful southerly flow that comes through. This is a fuel source that comes out of Texas, portions of Louisiana from the Gulf of Mexico, and it's going to feed into the storm system, fueling it and pushing these storms higher and higher into the atmosphere, building them higher and higher into the atmosphere. Because of that, we've seen an increase in what we call CAPE values. CAPE stands for something, C-A-P-E. It is convective available potential energy. That's what CAPE stands for. Basically, it's the available energy within the atmosphere that can potentially really get things going here around the Missouri River Valley. We've had this up to about what we have is 2,500 joules per kilogram. Now, to you, that's completely foreign. Like, what are we talking about? Joules per kilogram. That's basically a measurement of the energy. And when we get to 2,500, that's easily in the zone of severe weather activity. Technically, that starts at about 1,500. And then once we get to around 3,000, that's when we could have a major severe weather outbreak. So we're kind of there in this really nice sweet spot for some strong storms to develop just from the energy of the atmosphere alone. But we are also seeing data that indicates that we'll see some strong deep layered shear. And that is something that you need to really help things kind of spin up in storm activity. So our hodographs, which is another type of chart that we use to indicate rotation of the atmosphere, has been doing a couple of loop-de-loops for Saturday night into Sunday around our viewing area. These are all the different things and all the different information we have been gathering just from the past literal 24 hours that have now pushed us to put a first warn on Saturday and on Sunday's forecast. We may have an opportunity to even upgrade this furthermore to a first warn weather day. I'm not ruling that out, nor the rest of our meteorologists here at KCTV5. We have time here, and we will gather more data. And as we do that, we're going to get more and more accurate with the information for these particular days. And once we do that, we'll have a better idea if we're going to issue a first warn weather day or not. Nonetheless, today is the day that you want to plan, that you want to prep for some inclement weather just in time for your weekend. All right, this is the time. Make sure that you've been chit-chatting with your family. Hey, where are we going to be if it really gets bad here around our neighborhood? If we've got serious severe weather, are we going to all meet in the basement? Do we have a basement? Okay, we don't have a basement. Where do we go? Is it going to be into an interior hall? Is it going to be into an interior closet or an interior bathroom with no windows? We should all meet in that location together to stay safe, right? You want to do that. So you have that plan in place. Make sure you have what's called a go bag. right? And it's going to be a backpack full of materials. It's going to have maybe a pair of socks, a new pair of shoes, some extra clothing there just in case things get torn or very wet or damp or something like that. You want to make sure that you have some non-perishable food items, maybe an extra battery pack for your smart device. Obviously, you want to have a flashlight, some extra batteries. First aid kit is going to be a good idea in that go bag. And if you can put some water into it, that's a best bet as well. Technically, these bags can get the size of duffel bags because when it comes down to it, you really should have gallons of water available for yourself, because you want to make sure that you're available to have water for at least a 48 to 72 hour kind of time frame. But some people just don't have that luxury, but at least having some water, you're ready to go. Maybe that'll hold off you for 24 hours. Anything to put that together, that's going to be a good idea, right? So that's what a go bag is, and you go with it. You grab it. It's fast. You can take it with you. It's got everything that you need if a severe weather situation happens. And you're ready to go with it with your family, right? It's going to keep you safe. So having that ready to go. And then obviously taking into consideration your front yard, your backyard. Do you have patio furniture? Do you have trees that have really big limbs and you're going, maybe I should start trimming up that tree like right now? Or, hey, I've got plastic patio furniture. I should probably bring that into the garage. I think that'll be a best bet because we don't want those to be wafted up into the air due to 60 or 70 mile an hour winds. So this is that prep and plan kind of situation that we're talking about, right? So that's it right there. I love this. Holly mentions, get a helmet ready. Yeah, I mean, I know that's silly, but it's a true story. When you find that interior location of your home, that's a good idea. Headgear will help you out. A bicycle helmet. If you've got a sporting helmet, maybe a baseball helmet or a football helmet, yeah, put it on, because that's what's going to help you stay the safest, right? We want to make sure that you're staying protected. So that's actually not a bad idea. Chris asks, what's the risk for tornadoes in KC? So right now we are down to about a 2% to 3% threat for tornado development. And I know what you're thinking. You're going, okay, Greg, well, that's kind of low, ain't it? That's like really, really low. Well, for example, we had a 10% threat for tornado development during the Tuscaloosa outbreak back in the day over there in Alabama. And that was about 5 tornadoes, one after another, somewhere about that. It was numerous tornadoes, I should say, that did massive destruction to the Tuscaloosa area. That was under about a 10% tornado threat. So to have a 2 or 3% threat is something that we all raise our eyebrows to, even as meteorologists. It's like, okay, we got to make sure that these guys are prepped for it. All right. It's not the end all be all. This is not going to be, death and destruction and doomsday everywhere. But we want you to be ready for, okay, we're going to get into another threat or another round of potential strong storms. Let's make sure that we're ready. Greg says that we should be prepped for it. Let's get prepped, but then enjoy the rest of the week, and know that if it does start to get kind of hazy or rough, we're ready for it. That's what we want you to do. That's all. Joshua says, I keep hearing that we have moisture, that the previous systems have been, I lost it. Let's see if I can go over here, because I just had another extra comment that popped up. Let's see if I can bring it back. Oh, no, I really did lose it. Where did it go? Oh, well, I apologize. Hopefully I'll find that message again. But George says, do we think we will get upgraded to an enhanced risk or moderate risk either Friday or Saturday? George, I believe that is a total plausibility for us. I think we've got a great chance for that to occur, especially when it comes down to maybe an enhanced risk. We might be pretty close to an enhanced risk in regards to a Friday or a Saturday forecast. So it's definitely something we're going to look out for. We are most definitely expected in a marginal to slight risk zone. But we definitely have a good chance for us to have somewhere in the viewing area, maybe get to that enhanced risk threat. Of course, we'll adjust accordingly when we get brand new information, and that literally comes in almost every 3 hours for us. Brand new information that comes literally from low levels and the mid levels of the atmosphere. And that's really thanks to the National Weather Service and some private sector companies as well that shoot up, nodes with their balloons. We also get information from satellites that continue to orbit around the Earth as well. Let's see. Leanne says, we lost a big tree last round and lost internet for a week. We're getting ready for it this time around. I think that's a good idea. I think that's great. You know, it's definitely something we got to watch out for. Hey, we got big old trees here. I know I've my entire sidewalk outside of my house, and I'm on a corner lot. All the entire sidewalk around me is completely lined with these massive maples and oaks. Massive. And they don't necessarily have deep rooted systems, right? That's not the species of tree, but they are broad. They kind of spread out, not necessarily deep. So the problem with that is if you have a constant steady wind or gust at 60 or 70 miles an hour, you could lose massive trees that are that big easily because they can't withstand that kind of pressure, that kind of wind pressure from these storms because their roots are not rooted deep enough to hold them in place. That's a problem. And we have a lot of that kind of issue around Kansas City. So hence why we see a lot of trees go down during these inclement weather scenarios. All right, friends, I got to let you go. It's 9:21 in the morning. My KC Live is up currently. We're going to be doing another update there for you. And then we're also going to be updating everyone here during the afternoon. You'll have First Warn 5 meteorologist, I believe Melissa Meter is going to be here, along with Chief Meteorologist Luke Doris, who will help you guys out in the meantime. So with that being said, please, please, please plan and prep for today. Sunshine as we move into the afternoon. So definitely giving you time to plan and prep.